We
Hi,
can't
Mary.
hear you, Laura.
My apologies. I just finished another Zoom.
Yeah, because some people have to go at noon, so it's going to make it a
Okay.
little harder.
Perfect. All right, we are recording, and it is 11:08. Mayor, would you like to call to order?
Sure. Call to order the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee meeting of February the 11th, 2021. The time is 11:08. Roll call. Ginny Wellman,
Here.
Janae Menton,
Here.
Mary Damaris,
Here.
and we have from staff, we have Laura Pettit and Josh from the Marketing and Tourism Director, and Josh Stecker, Assistant Clerk. And we have a guest, which will soon be on our committee too, Warren from the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome. All right, so do I have a motion to, I hope people have been able to review the minutes. We have a couple minutes that we did not approve before. We have the minutes of November 10th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 10th?
So
I
moved.
move-
Right, so moved by Mary, seconded by Ginny.
Yeah.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Nay. Motion, November 10th meetings are approved. Then we have the meetings of January 7th. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve the January minutes.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, we'll say Janae. All those in favor say aye.
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 And just
All
for the record, because I'm writing this down as we go, motion to approve was Janae and seconded by,
It was, let's see, it was approved by Mary. It was seconded by Janae.
okay,
Okay. And
thank you.
we just had Sue Brayton of the Wesleyan join us. Are you there, Sue? Sue, are you there? Okay. We've approved the 2 minutes. We have our 2021 Visitors Guide, production to begin, suggestions of contact. Everyone should have the agenda for today. I'll let you take that over, Laura.
Sure. So I wanted to run through the review of new applicants for the remaining collector position. We also had, of course, Kimberly Stevens drop off of the committee because of her other obligations. So I wanted to just review the people that we brought up as potential replacements and potential, and just how our outreach campaign is going. I did confirm I spoke with John Moist at Arabella's Landing in the collector position. He is interested. I have not received an application yet. I spoke with Ariel Gustanski at the Greater Gig Harbor Foundation in the receiver position. She is interested, but will be applying in this next cycle. So we're opening it up again. Spoke with Charlie Glock at the Peninsula Art Leaf in the receiver position. She's on the Arts Commission, so she's unable to do 2, but she gave me 2 names of other members that may be appropriate. I spoke with Richard Solem of the, I want to say the Kiwanis, who also helps with the Galloping Gertie event in the receiver position, and he's interested as well. Sue, I know that you were speaking with Teresa at the Inn of Gig Harbor, or at the Inn of Gig Harbor. We have not received an application yet. Any update on any interest there?
And Sue, I tried to get your attention, can you just say that you're here for the recording? Sue Brayton from the Wesleyan. As she's left. Okay.
We'll get an update from her when she's back on camera.
Okay.
And I'll keep going through that list. James Carer from Vicasa was a name that was brought up. I've reached out, although I do have some concerns. Both of his numbers are either 206 or 971 numbers, which are both out of area. So I'm not quite sure if that is the right fit, but we'll take a look and we'll get in touch with him. I have left a voicemail for Pleasurecraft Marina, but I've not heard back.
What am I not hitting? Just
And I did speak with Eric Giddings at Delmar Lodge.
so I'm not using
He's
it.
interested, and I've sent him more information on what the time commitment is and what that looks like. So he would be an applicant in the next round if he's interested. So that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that we've made outreach to. So we're hoping to have some updates there.
Okay, so are any of them
Oh.
scheduled to be interviewed?
No, we
We
did
don't
not
have any
receive
interviews scheduled.
applications.
Okay, but
And
you
Laura
have,
and Mayor, I need to interject here. We don't have a vacancy for a receiver position until September, so we should not
Got
be reaching out to people on those at this point. I think Mary's term expires in September, so until then, we don't have a vacancy.
I see. Okay,
unless we got another collector. And then we could.
No, we'll be full. We can only have 4 receivers, and the council committee has already recommended Warren, and Warren will be our 4th.
Right, but I wasn't sure that the council said it was limited to only 4, as long as it was an even amount.
No, it is limited to 4. The state requires it to be an even amount. Council says it needs to be 4.
Okay, all right, then we're gonna have to let those know, yeah.
I will. I'll just let them know that we've got interest for September then. That's
Right.
at least we're doing things in advance.
So do we have
okay.
any collectors that have filled out an application?
We do not. We have no applications. So this would be either Teresa at the end of Gig Harbor. And Sue, if you have an update on that, let us know. Or Vacasa or Eric Giddings with Delmar Lodge or Pleasurecraft Marina. Those would be the
Okay.
collectors that we have that we've reached out to.
Sue, I've asked for you to acknowledge that you're here. We have a question for you, and we have other meetings after this. So if you're going to participate, we've had a couple questions for you.
So your volume may not be working. Would you like to call in?
Okay. All right, we'll go back to that. My point is I'd like to make it so that the chamber doesn't have to wait. I don't want the chamber to
Here,
wait
would there
3 to
be?
5 months. So if,
Well, I'm looking at the volume and it says it's.
I know.
Sue, I think we've got your volume. I think we can hear you.
So Sue, are you there? We heard you a second ago. Okay, we're gonna go back to this. What I'd like is hopefully Sue can reach out to the Inn of Gig Harbor, because I really don't want the chamber to have to wait 3 months. And so if we have troubles getting someone, then I'm apt to want to go back to the council and let them make an exception, amend it until, for this one, so Warren can come in. And, but we'll hear from Sue. All right, go
A
ahead.
reminder, Mayor, that's a state requirement, not a council requirement. So the council can't affect that.
Okay. All right. Well, then, who did you have if the inn?
Sorry, I've been having some audio. Can you hear me now?
We
Yeah.
can.
I could not hear you.
Okay, so Sue.
Well, it was the gal that was going to take Kim's place, not, it was like a Tanisha or something. And
Teresa.
we went back and forth. She was going to take over for Kim. She was going to be the manager. And I had something else I had to deal with her. So I called to talk to her the other day, last week, and Kim answered the phone and Kim said, "No, I'm still here. She's now in Eugene." So did she never apply?
No.
She said she did not. Okay. So she told me twice that she would do it. And then Kim said, well, if she did it, she could still be on it, but she's not going to be up here that much. And
Okay.
Kim's going to be here till September. I said to Kim, well, could you be the one? And she didn't really give me an answer.
Okay, well, we want someone to be an active participant, and we've already reached out enough that it's not too enticing that she's going to be an active participant if we're struggling just to get her to apply. So we had John Moist, and we had told John, I had talked to him, you had talked to him.
Yeah.
And John said he was willing to send the application in, but he hasn't done so.
He has not done so yet. No. I will follow up with him. I have a new link from Josh. We had closed applications for this round in order to be interviewed by council on the 16th. So anything, we'll reopen that for our next round of interviews and encourage both John and Eric Giddings to apply.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay,
So really quick, just catch me up. Janie Denton, what happened with her?
what? Okay, we're gonna run out of time, but that's fine. We can't, this group felt that she's gone 6 months of the year. So if you had listened to any of the recording, she's gone 6 months of the year. And the council felt that they wanted someone that was here more than 6 months. And so they were holding off to see if there were other applicants that would come forward because they wanted someone that was here closer to year round. So that's what happened.
So the council decided that, or you guys decided that?
Council decided that. Council interviews the different people, and that committee felt that they wanted to see if there was another collector that was here more than 6 months of the year. And that was the 3 council members.
Okay. Oh, okay, we can talk about that later. You or whoever, Josh and I can have a discussion about some of that, but yeah, okay, keep going. Sorry, I'm sorry I was not able to be on.
Okay, go ahead, Laura.
Certainly. So next up, we have the 2021 Visitors Guide. Productions to begin. We are not going to be doing a print copy this year. It doesn't make sense for us to extend ourselves when there's not enough advertisers that are going to sign in and there's not enough touch points to distribute them at. What we are going to do is create a URL with information that can be easily updated, that is able to be linked on our website and also available to send out. And that's going to include all of our summer details. That's going to be much, much easier for us to maintain control of this summer as things change, as things update. So that's our plan there. We'll make it editorial. We will have some stories. I would love to have the input of everybody here in this committee on people that we think could write fun little content pieces on what's happening, maybe a behind the scenes for the Film Fest planning, or, Sue, I have your wonderful content from last year on things to do with kids in Gig Harbor. I'm going to utilize that for a piece here. Mary, if there's something on the farmer's market or an insight from one of your vendors where they could write a piece on their offerings, that might be interesting. I'm going to depend on you heavily because we usually have a full editorial staff to do this. If there are people that you think might be interesting to write small pieces, let me know.
Yeah, we still have 9,500, approximately 99,000 of our visitors guide from last year. And so, we don't know when we're going to be in phase 4. So it just does not make sense to do a whole nother group when they're not even up and running too. So I did just start snowing, just so everyone knows.
So Laura, did you get bids from the 2 companies you were going to talk to, or did you just decide that, you guys? I'm just asking because we've, it's an important piece for us when we're, we still use it all the time here, have it out. So
I talked to Lake Media. I talked to Julie Reed.
No, you had 2 other ones last meeting. I think you had 2 other companies you were going to talk to.
Saga City and Lake Media. So I talked to Saga City. I tried to reach out to them several times and I got nothing back. Luckily, I know their CEO and I sent an email this week and she linked me in with Jeff Adams, their publisher. I don't know anybody who's doing a custom guide this year, a custom visitors guide. I talked to Travel Tacoma. They're not doing theirs this year. They had an interesting situation happen last year, as did we on production. So the cost is zero for us either way. No matter who we go through, because they're responsible for selling ads and making it something that's profitable on their end. We distribute,
right?
But it doesn't make sense, and there's not a lot of advertisers interested right now, especially without knowing a summer schedule. That's where they're really able to put together content that draws advertisers in, and right now we don't know. So
would this be per Julie? Did you talk to Julie about it then?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
talked to Julie and I talked to Nicole Vogel, the CEO for Saga City. What I'm going to do is have a call with Jeff Adams next week on preparing for 2022 and doing a really lovely 2022 visitors guide so that we will be ready far before our deadlines. And I really do think it has an opportunity to be more digitally friendly. They're really specializing in that. So we're just going to plan for the future. We're going to do a nice version this year digitally in-house and then go back full force next year.
Okay,
Yes.
so is Warren on this call? Is
Yeah, I'm
Warren
here,
on?
Stu.
Hey,
Yeah,
are
I
you
was
guys
just-
doing,
I was
Are you
just going to
gonna-
mention that we received our visitor guides last week, and I have about 7,500 here in stock right now. We didn't order as many as we typically do,
Okay.
but they're ready for distribution. We've been
okay,
handing them out here at the center, and because of
Okay.
COVID, we haven't been able to get out and see everyone to drop them off. But we
Okay.
certainly have plenty here, and if you want to stop by, we can give you whatever you need.
yeah, I was just gonna see if you guys continued to do yours. Okay, so, and you've got a new one now, so we will use
Yes.
that then for instead
Do,
of.
as an alternate, what we can do is create a signage piece that has a QR code so that people can click with their phones and go directly to the online visitors guide. So there's still something at touch points, but not necessarily our usual paper copy.
Okay, can I ask, since we're on it, about the rack card displays? Oh, at Finn Homes and the other park, they're pretty empty. Are we gonna either take that away, or, because it looks terrible, there's a few spots with rack cards, there's some that, so just what are we doing with those? What's the plan?
We're not going to take them away. We still want to do those. We still want to have it so that, groups are in touch with Laura. And then, the city used to print the rack cards for places. We still want to do that. So we also want to get what the visitors guide that we have out to everyone. And Laura's going to reach out to other cities. I was up in Edmonds and saw that they had the 2019 visitors guide. So Laura's going to reach out to different cities to make sure that they have the most current. But no, we're still going to do the cards. We have to make sure that we have the cards to put in there.
We
Again,
Okay.
will have rack cards for the farmer's market.
okay.
Okay.
But is Laura in charge of, did we used to have volunteers that did that? I can't
Yes.
remember.
Yes, we did.
Uh-huh. So
And we have none
you
right
need
now.
some volunteers. Well, how would volunteers do that? Because they'd have to get them from you if we
Right.
found somebody that.
They'd have to pick up a bundle or a packet or a box and then be responsible for refilling in a certain destination.
Sure.
Right now, we've had everything on hold, and I'll get to this in a little bit too, but we also have Barb Borscheit, who has been our volunteer coordinator for the past couple of years. She is no longer able to do it. So we need to find somebody new who would be the volunteer coordinator. Ideally, when we hire the coordinator position in the tourism and communications department, that would be a task that would be under that title. So that's where we're at for right now. But yes, we need to rally our volunteers and do a retraining session before we reopen the Scansey House. And if we have people who are willing to pick up and monitor locations right now, that would be great. Now that I'm back full-time from maternity leave, I can also just monitor at least a few just by a drive-by. So
Right. I don't mind having us use Diane that has
Okay.
to do work. So we could have Diane, we shouldn't, as great as it is to have volunteers, we shouldn't have to do that. The city should provide that. So we could get Diane, pay Diane a little bit of money each week to monitor that.
okay, I will get on that.
And
I'll-
then
I'll
let
judge-
people know, I guess, whose rack cards you don't have any longer, or, what's the plan for reprinting, all those things too.
Right.
Because that was annual, and I think we didn't do any last year, so.
I want to make sure we have the rack cards to have Diane deliver them. So yeah, so Laura, coordinate with the different groups to make sure they have current rack cards, and then talk to me and we'll get Bob, we'll sign off on Diane doing some. Yes, Jim?
Okay. And then I'm just going to set a current par level for each one that we have. And then when we go under a certain amount, Diane or our new person can reach out and just make sure that we have a consistently updated and fresh version.
So
Yes,
I have a question. So Laura, is the city going to print these like they have in the past, or is each organization going to be responsible for printing their own?
I did not know we printed them. So,
I think we paid $500. We paid a small fee, but because you ran, or the city ran them all at the same time for the different groups, I believe that was how it was. It was a very
Yes,
minimal cost to
Okay.
the,
It was a good
I can
discount, so-
interject there. This is Warren. The
Yeah.
city had a program, and what they would do each year is take all of the needs for the different organizations, get a quantity for each organization, and then they created a mass order that covered all of them. And it included the maritime gig and all of the different activities, basically. And I don't remember what the total number was in order to get that discount, but I know that that's how it was done.
and that's correct. So we'll do that again. And, we also have the trolley rack card. So we'll ask each group for 500, and Laura, you can $500, and Laura, you can figure out how many they want. And then we'll do that as the city, and then we'll get them cut and then distribute them.
okay, I will take a look at what we have. I'll put together a list and reach out. On the trolley, they are not doing they don't want to do a rack card this year. What they did is they created an app. And I just had a phone call with Dwayne this morning at Pierce Transit. They're going to put a sign at each stop with a QR code. And not only will it show the schedule when they get into that app, it'll also show the occupancy percentage so they can know exactly how many people are on each trolley, just for social distancing requirements. So
I'm not-
that's,
I'm not opposed with us paying for a trolley rack card if our collectors and receivers would like that. That's fine that they won't, but the thing is to build the buzz, and maybe if you're at the hotels, they're not going to know that, and the rack card would be a way in. What does the rest of the group feel about that?
I know personally, we used it all the time because the schedule was on it. And so it was helpful to people. They could we hand it to them. Here's the schedule. Weekends are different. So it was very helpful. And we have I think we all saved the big signs they gave us each year, and there was a slot for a rack card. So again, if it could be part of the $500
Sure.
package with the
I'll talk with them
schedule on the back.
what we can put out, because I know at least with their capacity guidelines, schedules are a little bit different. Even though it may arrive, they may not have room. So they're really trying to do audience management on just accurately communicating that. So when we print a rack card, maybe we can include that QR code to say, check here for current schedules and occupancy rates. But yeah,
Sure.
that's a great idea.
Mary and Janae, do you
Yeah,
like
that'd be
the
a
idea
great idea.
of printing it?
I agree. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so why don't you, it's a good little rack card, and the chamber would want them to. So we'll go ahead and put that little logo on there, and we will add that to our distribution.
Okay,
Now,
and a quick question for the group too, just because I wasn't here back then. Is there a specific printer that we used for that mass rack card production?
I'll check. I know I can find out from accounting. I know we have used Minuteman Press in the past too.
Okay, I can do that, Mayor. I'll touch base with accounting. I just wondered if it was top of mind for anyone here.
I didn't know. I don't know who she used.
I don't know either.
So
No
we were
worries.
thinking of starting the trolley when school got out, because the parade's not going to happen on time, and that's really was the kickoff. So I really don't see a lot of people using the trolley until around June 27th or 21st, about that time.
We
What are the rest
spoke this morning on what a good start date might be. Usually they wanted to start right around the time of the Maritime Festival. This year, since there is a later date, what we talked about this morning is starting it up when they have their service changeover, which would be on June 14th. And then it would go through just before the Washington State Fair starts. So it would stop around the 2nd or 3rd of September.
Okay.
So when would it start again? I'm
June
sorry,
14th.
June 14th.
And then we've also talked, since we have a new trolley that looks like an old trolley, we've also talked about the possibility of doing a ribbon cutting or unmasking unveiling event. Thank you, Mary, for the chuckle. So that's where we're at on that.
Okay, when's the farmer's market going to start, Mary? Because that's nice to have it for that. When
June
does the
3rd.
June 3rd? Okay.
Yeah, the last trolley meeting I was on, they were talking around the 9th or something for our start date.
Yep, I know. We had the update. We had just had an update call with Dwayne on what works for their scheduling and where their service transition is. So we're in motion on that, and we're also looking for pledges.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because Mary and I were in a meeting with them last week and we got totally different dates.
Right.
So I think it'd be really helpful if we're going to have these conversations that everybody be included in the conversation so
Yep.
that I've already started putting out information that I was given last week that the possible start date was June 6th because of the farmer's market, which was one of the things that was discussed with the trolley people. And they also said that they were looking at June 23rd as a possible start, as that was the end of the school year. So I would appreciate just being informed if there's going to be additional meetings so that Mary and I and the city and everyone else included would be hearing the same information, because we distribute that information to the community. And if I'm putting out bad news, that doesn't help anybody.
Oh, absolutely. And I wasn't on that meeting. Last week was my last week of maternity leave. So I wasn't able to make that. But I just heard this morning, I got a phone call and I wanted to relay it as soon as possible.
Okay, well,
so-
they did give us another meeting date. I'm not at my desk, so I can't look that up for you and tell you what the date was. Maybe Mary remembers, but there was to be a follow-up meeting to kind of confirm.
There'll be a monthly meeting because we wanted to make sure that all the information is communicated at the same time to everybody. So this call this morning was a surprise to me, but we will make sure that I think what I've heard consistently throughout this, and I apologize, I was not a part of the meeting you're referencing, is that we will make a final decision and determination based on what's happening with COVID in April, but our anticipated date is not going to change. If everything goes correctly, that will be the date that we start. And I know it sounds like there was some vacillation between the 6th and the 23rd. I think the 14th is a decent compromise there. But again, I want to make sure. I'll talk to Dwayne. I know this is his first year coordinating on the Pierce Transit side. I want to make sure that the information is correct and that we're all having the same conversation, because you're right, that doesn't help anybody if there are different pieces of information out. So let me touch base with him.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate it. I'm sorry that I've got to get to an eye appointment, but thank you for the invite today, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thanks so much, Warren.
Nice to have you here, Warren.
Nice to have you back, Warren.
And that meeting is March 18th, the next trolley meeting that is scheduled by Dwayne.
We're also going to need a new trolley picture because it's a new trolley.
Yep, and I've spoke with him about that this morning too.
Okay, and we're using the same route that we used before, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, we've got about 5 more items to talk about. Our LTAC grant open date. So I've just put together, Josh and I have been in touch this morning. I've put together a press release draft, which I'll send out just following this. We are going to go ahead and go out to media. We have a mock page up. Stephanie mentioned that was a good idea to just at least have the open date out. And I agreed that's a great idea. So we put together that on our website and we'll go out to media today, just letting them know. I'm also asking this group for your help in getting that information out. I know I fixed an email issue. The Peninsula Art League wasn't getting my emails. So that's corrected, but I know that we had some questions about how wide the word goes when we send out information. We'll go to all our local media today. We're going to send a news flash and we're going to send an email to all of our community partners. If there is anyone that you're talking to, if you'd like the link, and you'll have that in the press release that I send, I encourage you to circulate that as well. Any ideas, and if I can query you all for any ideas of where else we should put that information, I am open.
So question, one thing on this, where it says $20,000 maximum request amount, and can we move that over to the far left, have it start under the logo? It's still where it is, but start over towards where the logo is. And then after that, say 50,000 max grants available. That's why I wanted to actually see this prior to today, because I wanted, I don't want people, personally, I'd rather not award 2.5 grants. I'd rather award like 3 to 5 and not have, that's my own personal thought, is so that it touches more people to where we can have more events help the city. This is only $50,000 available. So I want people to realize that, yeah, you can try for 20,000 or a couple, but there's only $50,000 available. And I had thought that I'd mentioned this earlier to you or Josh, I had thought that this was going to say that on this. So if we can move $20,000 maximum request amount over to the far left, and then after that with a little space, say $50,000 worth of grants available, something like that, before this goes out. Yes, Ginny.
So a couple of things. One is, are you emailing people who've applied in the past?
Everyone who signed up for any kind of communication for the city. So, and that's, I think Charlie wasn't receiving emails. I reached out to her from my Gmail just to figure out why. And so I know that was one of the past recipients that didn't receive an email. That's a separate issue entirely.
So the one I was concerned about was Trish Huff with the Permission to Start Dreaming Foundation.
Okay.
They do the Race for a Soldier, right, Sue?
Trish is no longer, so it's Fenny. Yeah, Fenny. I can send you her email.
Let me make sure she's on our list, and if not, I will add her right now to make sure that she's a recipient.
Yeah, Trish has more so now, so that's her.
Right, I saw her there.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of her. But the other thing is, in that flyer that goes out, if we say that they're $20,000 maximum and that we only have 50,000 available, can we say something about the next round opening up, and when that next round will open up? Because I think that would be really important.
Sure, we could.
And that more money is available at that point in time. This is.
Can you just say the fall? Because is it the fall? I mean, without an exact date.
Yeah,
Or late summer. Is it late summer?
Not on this application, but in the email we send out, we could say this is the remainder for 2021. And
Right.
The new for 2022, there should be we hope to have an additional $125,000 for the grants, and we hope to have that out in early September.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because then it'll kind of give people a heads up.
Right.
And the other thing is, Laura, I know this is that going to the director at Gig Harbor Film Festival, that announcement?
I'm going to find out right now. I'm just adding Fenny in because we don't have her on that list. No.
Yeah, she needs to be on there.
So
Okay.
let's say mid-August. It always gets to be a crunch. And this year we're ahead of it. This year we've got a good, when last year we didn't have the whole bylaws in place, and we do for the most part now. We're going to have to touch base. But let's say that, we hope that $125,000 more will be available for 2022. And we hope to get those applications out by mid-August.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Also, this.
I'm so sorry. I'm taking minutes here, so it's hard to keep up just a little bit. But on that mid-August open date, did you mention the same amount available? Or Mayor, what was the amount that you just mentioned?
125. Hopefully 125 will be available. So when Josh and you work on this, can you move that one line over and do
I
that?
did while we've been on the call here.
I'm sorry, what?
I've already done that while we're on the call.
The other thing is this says deadline for applications is Monday, November 2nd.
Yep, already changed it to Wednesday, March 31st.
Okay, great.
Okay. Heading into the event calendar, we've received the permitting and application for Race for a Soldier. So
So
that's in.
And last thing, so we're gonna try to reach out to all the nonprofits, the Greater Gig Harbor Foundation, the ones that have already applied in the past, POW, and any other ones, so that we really broadcast it out for everyone to know.
Just some of those I don't know what they are. So, but they still have to bring in some type of tourism or event or something, correct? What's
Exactly.
PALS? I don't know.
Peninsula Art League that does the big festival.
Oh, okay. Well, I know Peninsula Art League. I'm not, okay. Okay,
Greater
gotcha.
Gig Harbor Foundation has like 7 to 11 groups under them.
Oh, okay.
They do a lot.
All the senior center, the senior events, anything like that. So anything that's, they have to prove how measurable it is in order to even be considered. So of course that'll all go through this committee
Okay.
too.
Good.
So,
And
let's see,
then
I'm just gonna roll back to the agenda.
does this say that we were going to, when we finish our April meeting, we were going to then award those grants. Council, we would have the council at the next meeting after we award it. Council will have to okay that. So it would be nice to have a deadline to tell the grant application, people that apply when they will be decided on. So
Right.
when was our meeting in April?
I believe it's the 11th. It's the second Thursday.
Okay, so because if we could put on the second Thursday, you said?
Yep, I'm just gonna scroll through to April and make sure. I believe that's the 15th.
No, it's
No, it's the 8th.
okay. So let's see, second, so the 26th, council would be able to decide. So we would say the week of the 26th, we could award those so that people know. Maybe we could put that on this application. Grants will be awarded by the end of April.
Is it clear that these are for the year 2021?
Events need to happen in the press release and in all materials on the website where the application is located. We mentioned that it needs to be for an event that happens within 2021.
Okay, great.
Good. So we'll put on this that they'll be notified by the end of April.
So Laura, we talked about a 2-hour meeting to review those. Would we try to do that on the 8th or before?
I believe so, yes.
The 8th.
Because either way, they would have to be approved by council. So even if we did it earlier, it would still be April 26th that they would be able to be distributed.
Right. And
So plan on April 8th being a longer meeting. That's what I'm asking, I
Yes,
guess.
and I will send an updated invite for the 8th.
right.
Just note a 2-hour meeting.
But we'll still start at 11 because we have 10 a.m. meetings. So it'll be 11 to 1. And then the grant application deadline is
March 31st.
Got it. Okay.
Perfect. Heading into event calendar, we've received the permitting application for Race for a Soldier. So that will occur on September 18th. And then the Waterfront Farmers Market permitting application, of course, is in, and that starts, as Mary mentioned, on the 3rd of June.
Yay,
Yay!
yay.
For summer city events, we wanted to give a brief update. We are taking band interest and putting that into a spreadsheet and setting the schedule for 6 weeks of movies in the park. I've just had an email back and forth with the company Swank that we do the movie licensing through this morning. They do have a clause for COVID, so it is risk-free on our end to begin planning. And we will start looking for sponsorships. If there are any leads that you have or ideas that you might have on those sponsorships, feel free to reach out and I can coordinate that effort.
When's the tentative plan for bands and how do they get up? I mean, if somebody is interested, how do they just let you know, or is there an application? What do you guys do for bands?
You know, there wasn't an application last year. We had enough interest that it filled up our schedule entirely. We did a little bit of outreach too in order to find the right styles and mix, because we don't want like a jazz band playing every week, you know?
Yeah, I just was
so,
curious. Did
yeah,
they just reach out to you?
We have
Right
about,
now,
somebody-
yes.
we have about
This is
35
gonna,
to 40 bands that apply, and then they send us their link to their music. And then it's actually one of the funnest things I have is Laura or the tourism and myself decide on the bands. We want our old staples. We want 2 or 3 of your same bands, but you all want to mix it up. So you don't want to have the same all the time. So we've done a good cross with different races of people as far as in the band. We've had country, jazz, folk, fun addicts for kids, rock. So we've really, try to change it around a little bit, and we'll probably go with the bands we actually picked last year that never got to play. We
Right.
Oh, so, okay. And are the beatniks on there for sure? Yeah.
oh, yes.
Yep.
Always.
And starting when? Do you think?
Probably mid-July. We want to minimize our risk and be, I think, realistic about when events are going to be allowed. So
Okay.
looking at that for a 6-week schedule.
Okay.
Right.
And then as far as movies go, we've talked frequently about maybe moving away from a cartoon model and making it more all-inclusive while still very appropriate for families. And so a few of the ideas that had come up too with Swank are, Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park. We change the sign of the day. We could partner with some of our car clubs for, doing great old cars parked for photo ops with Dirty Dancing. We could hire dance instructors and do something experiential as well. Because I know a lot of people will be very, very excited to get back out. Just a couple
Sounds
of
good.
ideas.
It's fun.
We could do something like a dog's journey and partner with the Humane Society for adoptions.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So we really want to make that a fun experience for the whole family. I believe that's the last item we have on the agenda, other than the volunteer schedule for Scansy House, which I think I touched on already. Barb Borscheit has resigned as our coordinator. We're going to take this time to make sure that we can perhaps do a retraining segment via Zoom before we reopen Scansy House. And that is also slated for probably around the same time, midsummer at earliest.
For the Scansy House, not till midsummer?
Most likely, and that's going to have to do with our restrictions and reopening buildings. So
But we'll be all
why is it stores can be open? Like, isn't the visitors at the chamber, can people walk into that visitor's office?
I don't understand that either, Sue.
Is it because it's a government thing or?
yeah.
No, yeah.
We're
I'm just
prepared-
curious. It makes
Yeah.
some sense. Some of it's so frustrating. So
since it's part of the municipality and it's a building owned by the municipality, that would fall under phase 3. At least as phase 3 was written in the last plan, it could be written entirely different this time. So we know it's a little bit Byzantine and it's hard to follow, but
wouldn't the chamber be a city-owned building too? I think you can go in there, or can you not go in there?
I think you can. So we'll check.
I think so.
This
I
is-
think he told me they were all there. So
Right.
anyway, just curious, because it's obviously key for the rest. We want people to get directed around town. So
And I agree.
Yeah.
The Wild Watch is the one that runs that with the visitors. So, we'll check into that because I'm not sure why we can't do that sooner. So we'll try.
yeah, it's, we'd love to direct people. That's why that sign to me was so key to not have it's like the town is dead. There's nothing,
Right.
So.
I know one of our big concerns is that a majority of our volunteers are over 65. And so that's been one of the considerations as well.
Hey, the vaccine's out. They should all be fine now. They should all be fine.
If they
They're
can
getting
get
them.
it.
Yeah.
They're flocking in. Yeah. Mary and I, weren't we 66? How old are you, Mary?
I'm 66.
There
I've
you
had my
go.
first shot.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, there you go.
It also takes a month for the shot to actually take effect. Just so you know.
Oh, is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. You listen to different people. Everybody's got a different thought. Not
Right.
good.
So hasn't the visitor center been partially impacted because of Harbor Wild Watch? and their limitation to open?
Well,
Correct.
Wild Watch coordinates with the volunteers. We had the one
Mhm.
person that lines up the volunteers. What was her name, Laura?
Barb Borscheit.
She's not around anymore.
No.
So did she work for the city or did she work,
No,
I mean,
she
for
was
the
a
visitor center?
volunteer
Or
position. That was a volunteer position entirely.
So we need someone
Okay.
else to coordinate that because she coordinated all the volunteers.
Which is a huge deal. That's a huge deal. Yeah.
She then worked with Wild Watch because actually in Wild Watch's lease, it says that the volunteers help show the visitors the main floor of Wild Watch. So Mary, if you know any volunteers to coordinate that, that would be great.
I can't give away all my volunteers, kid.
What I was gonna say.
Jenny, have you gotten a job yet? Would you like that job?
Just one good one, Mary.
So I think that's everything. I just wanted to touch on one other item as well. We have leaned into our C-source data, and I wanted to share just a little bit of year-over-year data that we've received. Just as a quick reminder, it's always 2 months in arrears, but I wanted to share with you what some of the drops that we've seen specifically within city limits. The highest amount of visitors we've had in the past 2 years was in July 2019 at just under 30,000 within the month. The lowest, of course, was April 2020 with just under 7,000 visitors. Year over year, we're not seeing a huge drop off. I mean, it's significant, but from July 2019 to 2020, we saw a drop of about 10,000 visitors year over year. In August over August, we only saw a drop of 4,000 visitors. We did have a drop off rate of our out of state visitors by 50%. And interestingly enough, our best month for in-state visitors was in December 2019. Again, with December 2020, we saw a drop of 50%. So around 5,000 in December 2020, over 10,000 in 2019. We do have some data on where those people are coming from too. For our out-of-state opportunity, the areas that we're really seeing the most amount of visitors from are Portland, the surrounding affluent communities of the Bay Area, and I have a feeling that has to do a lot with boating, Sausalito, et cetera. Los Angeles, San Diego, Phoenix, Dallas and Austin, New Jersey, Boston, and Northern Virginia. So I thought that was interesting and I wanted to share. And that's most likely where a lot of our digital marketing will go to when we look at longer overnight stays or packages. For in-state opportunity, we really have Bellingham, Spokane, Wenatchee, the Tri-Cities, Vancouver, and Anacortes. I thought those were interesting stats to share from C-Sound.
Great. And then second note, you had mentioned that the kiosk is working again.
The kiosk is working. That was the last thing I did before maternity leave. And then apparently it went down about 2.5 days later. So I've looped Keith Smith in from our IT department. We're working with Alive Promo to make sure that we have a notification system for whenever that goes down via text or email. So we don't just have to drive by every day and make sure it's still up. So that should be up and running and consistent. So thank you all for your patience.
But how did you get it up and running?
Ask Keith. I don't know.
Okay. Because we're good.
Because you have to Keith has to coordinate with the company. Is that correct, Laura? Is that yeah. I just happen to be down there like 4 or 5 mornings a week. So I'm like, oh, it's black still. Oh, it's black. It's still black. It's still black.
Right.
But it was good today. That made me very happy. Thank you. Mhm.
Yep. And then we'll have a way to monitor it without relying on you. So
I'm happy to be.
And it's going to go down again. So as long as Keith
I'm
knows
sure.
he's in charge of the company, and then so now the question is, what does it show? It used to show a calendar of events. So
I'm always looking at, it shows the weather, it shows where to go, it shows all the different businesses, the categories. So I wasn't worried about the events. I was more like, can you find out where to stay? Can you find out where to eat? So those are all working.
It pulls in events from our Gig Harbor Guide website, and we've updated. I mean, there's nothing that's currently right there right now. So
Yep.
as we put together our digital visitors guide, it will pull in from that.
Cool. No film festival, Jenny? Do you think it's not going to happen this year then? Did I miss that?
They're still talking about it,
Okay.
you know, assuming they'll be in phase 4, but you know, it's anybody's guess, I think.
No,
Okay.
I would hope it would. I think by then we should, you know, by August, I would definitely think we should be. Who knows? But I really think by then
Yeah,
we
boy,
should,
I wouldn't, I wouldn't go on record saying anything yet.
Yeah, but anyway.
We're hoping for girls' night out. That's what, we're hoping
Hey,
for an
yeah.
autumn sip and
We need
stroll
that
and
back.
girls' night out.
Tree lighting, girls' night out. We need some fun.
Yes.
We do.
good.
We do need some fun.
Okay. Any other comments for the good to the order? All right. Great. So we'll send out the minutes. What I'd like to do is have us send out the minutes, you know, within a week after the meeting happened, which is after this. That way it's fresh in everyone's mind. And then you can read the minutes within the next week. And then if you have corrections, go ahead and give Laura an email. And that way, when we approve them next month, it's much easier to do. And then we have our next meeting on is it March 11th?
Yep.
Okay, March 11th at 11 o'clock. And great. And we'll work on getting that other collector too, so that we can get Warren on track.
Is it
Wonderful.
still, we can't have Warren on till the other one's on? Is
No,
that
I thought it was a council thing. It looks from Josh, it's a state law. So, but again, we hopefully Laura can reach out to a couple of those people. Warren's welcome to sit in and listen and add like he did. So,
okey-doke.
We'll try to get that up and running as soon as we can.
okay.
So
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Nice to see you all.
thank you, everyone. Oh, and
Thanks.
we're closing the meeting at 11:59. All right.
Good
Thanks.
job.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.